1,200 immigrants have gone missing at the ICE detention center in Florida, which literally is Alligator Alcatraz, if anyone forgot.
Hi lovelies, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Olinda Strana. Thank you so much for all the love and support. To my returning subscribers, to those people that share my videos and leave comments. When news breaks of over 1,800 immigrants missing without a trace at what is now being called Alligator Alcatraz, the world is left stunned, horrified, and questioning. How does such a staggering number of human lives simply vanish? Like, this is actually the real, rapture. The world is left stunned, And the question is, how does such a staggering number just vanish? And why does it actually seem that when it comes to immigrants, especially the poor, marginalized group, it's often brown or black bodies? The urgency to investigate, to rescue, to demand accountability feels muted, delay, or buried beneath. Anyways, let's dive into today's video as the internet is reacting to the fact that over 1,800 undocumented immigrants suddenly, vanished. Let's dive into it.
2/3 of the detainees at Alligator Alcatraz is missing, like they completely disappeared. Those are somebody's family. Those somebody's fathers, mothers. Alligator Alcatraz, that demonic place in Florida. Over 2/3 of the 1,800 detainees that was at Alligator Alcatraz in Florida are missing. Yes, I said missing. There's literally no record with ICE for none of them detainees. No trail, no explanation, nothing. This is another thing that happened during this entire distraction. Alligator Alcatraz, ICE has no record. The Miami Herald just reported 1,000 missing. Literally, if you call ICE for details and you got any family that was picked up by ICE, you might call that phone and they're gonna tell you they got no record of that person. Never been in their system. There's some people that was accidentally deported. People who was just picked up off the road for no reason are now gone. And some people got transferred and was never heard from again. The one that was sent to Guatemala right before his bond hearing, he's gone. The other guy that we heard about that was gone for a whole week, ICE didn't even know where he was. I gotta think about this. There's men, that's ICE, or say they're ICE, that's taking people off the street with masks, unmarked cars, no badges, no nothing, and just swarming in and saying they're ICE and taking people off out of their home and out of their jobs. The same way that we've seen in Latin America dictatorship, round these people up, throw them in the Everglades. When it got too hot politically, these people just vanished. People are even reporting they think that they're in the lakes. And now they close down Alligator Alcatraz and now you can't find the detainees. You close it down, now they disappear. If you thinking I'm being too extreme about this situation, you explain to me how you lose 1,000 detainees. Talking about sons, mothers, fathers, humans that just vanished. See how quietly the operation ended? Nobody's saying their name. Why? Because they never had a voice to start off with. And they're swept away like they never existed. And nobody's talking about this. It's happening on U.S. soil. I'm gonna tell you right now, like I've been saying, God is not gonna play with his word. God is not gonna keep letting y'all do this. What happens in the dark will come to light. No matter how nobody feel about it, those are human beings. I'm telling you right now, God is not gonna let it go. And if nobody told you, remember Chemo told you, stay motivated and protect your peace like your life depends on it. Hey look, breaking news.
1,200 immigrants have gone missing at the ICE detention center in Florida, which literally is Alligator Alcatraz, if anyone forgot. How did 1,200 people go missing? Their families can't find them. They're not in the ICE database either. So like there's no knowing of their whereabouts, like where these people have gone, what's going on. Like I'm thinking either these people were sold off to other people or they were just unalived. Because I can't really think of too many other things that would make sense for 1,200 immigrants missing out of 1,800. So 2/3 of the immigrants are missing and there's no information about them in the database. Like they've completely just gone ghost. They're completely disappeared from the system entirely. That is very, very, very scary. Yeah, that's not okay. That's definitely something that's leading to something more evil. Like, because there's just no way 1,200 people are just missing and their families can't find them and they're no longer in the ICE database. And they're on Alligator Alcatraz. So, like, if anything, you can just assume, like, they would have been in the waters with those alligators. You know what I mean? And like, that's worst case scenario. But at the end of the day, they have been completely erased from the system. No one knows where they are. Like, they're just actually disappearing people, which is concerning and scary because there was no due process. So like, they just literally are doing whatever they want to do with these people. Like, that's currently what ICE is doing. Losing 1,200 people at Alligator Alcatraz, and they've like completely disappeared off the face of the planet. They're not even in the database, which doesn't make sense because I feel like y'all would have had to go in the database and erase that information. Like, all of this is very, very odd, but beyond odd, seriously.
Y'all remember this Alligator Alcatraz, the thing that Donald Trump, Ron DeSantis were so proud of, putting all these people who were illegal immigrants out in a swamp in Florida because look how cool we are for doing that. And then a bunch of MAGA people would like travel out there to take pictures with the sign or wear their fucking bullshit t-shirts that said Alligator Alcatraz on it. And then a federal judge came along and closed it down. Said you can't have this because of the land it was built on. There's a bunch of issues there. But we haven't really heard much about it since. They've come up with other things to talk about that aren't the Epstein files. But there is something we should be talking about because there was a bunch of people who were there, right? Who were housed there. And then when it was closed down, they had to be housed somewhere else, correct? Where do you think they put them? Well, that's what family members of about 1,200 of them would like to know because they have no idea where their loved ones are. They're missing. Family members cannot locate them and their names have disappeared from ICE's online database. But they're not home. It's not like they walked up and knocked on the front door. They're just gone. And this is not uncommon. I've gotten messages all the time. I got a message today from a woman who said her son-in-law was taken by ICE and it took his family over 2 months to figure out where he was. You can say, hey, I don't want, people here illegally. You can say we need to deport some people. You can't co-sign this without being a horrible fucking human being. Like, this mess of a government that just does things without thinking or taking any of the steps necessary to make it a functioning thing, which is true of so many things this administration has done, literally can't keep track of people. We don't know where they are. We don't know if they've been deported or they're just in a facility. Just be a human being for like 10 seconds and think about if that was your loved one. Don't come with me with, they shouldn't be here illegally. No, just 10 seconds. Think if your loved one was taken by someone and then you didn't know where they were, what kind of chaos and pain that would cause you. That's what tons of people are experiencing around the country and the world because of this. And this is not okay. And we should be talking about it.
They said 1,200 out of 1,800 detainees that was at a fucking facility at Alligator Alcatraz in Florida are missing. So they're basically just swiped off the ICE database. Their families are being told that basically, to call ICE or whatever and get information. But I think about 800 of the family members can't even locate their peoples. And the other 400, they're just not on the list of people that's been taken away. And they know for a fact their family was taken. The way that they have been doing this shit, y'all, it has been absolutely crazy. And it comes to no surprise that these people are missing. I'm going to tell you that right now. You know what I'm saying? Because they haven't even been showing the faces of the people that's in ICE. There's no habeas corpus being followed. So they're not even, due process is not being followed. So all of this shit that's happening is they're trafficking people. They're trafficking them. People are being trafficked. There's no way around it. There's no way to sugarcoat this shit. People are being trafficked and we're actually seeing this shit in 4K. The fact that they just held a little girl hostage basically the other day until her father came out because they wanted to arrest him is fucking insane. ICE literally just shot someone in Chicago and killed them. This has gotten to be one of the most craziest years. And y'all, I'm only 28. I have nieces and nephews. It's not even one yet. I don't want to say I fear for their future, but if we don't fix this shit, like literally right now, bro, we're gonna have to swipe ourselves off the fucking go missing on purpose at this point. Like, not even want to be found and not want to be traced because they're literally coming for people. And once it's just fucked up, man. It's crazy, but someone's gonna have to answer to this shit. Someone's gonna have to answer to how over 1,800 people were at an Alligator Alcatraz that was supposed to be closed down, but they decided to keep it open temporarily after they tried to close it down. And now there's 1,200 people missing. Okay.
You guys remember the famous Alligator Alcatraz that the Trump administration built to send a bunch of immigrants at the same time? A new report just came out and you're not gonna believe what it says. According to this new document, 1,200, remember, 1,200 detainees, pretty much people that were taken in there, immigrants, are missing. They're nowhere to be seen. Nobody knows nothing. Family members are calling and they're just saying, call ICE agents for more information. That is some chilling stuff if you ask me. So nearly 2/3 of the people that were detained are nowhere to be found. And the crazy part about all this is that there's no record of these people either. Just in case you forgot, the court ordered them to shut down Alligator Alcatraz. They were able to reverse it temporarily. Now the million-dollar question that everybody has is, where are these undocumented immigrants? Can anybody tell us? But I'm very curious to know, what are your thoughts about all this down below in the comments? And like always, don't forget to follow for more viral news.
I'm Major League, and here's some news you need to know. 2/3 of the men detained in the detention center known as Alligator Alcatraz are missing. You heard that right. More than 1,200 people have gone missing from the U.S. detention facility, and no one knows their whereabouts. The Miami Herald is reporting that 1,200 of the 1,800 men held there in July cannot be found in ICE's database. The vast majority of these detainees had not received final judicial removal orders, meaning if they were deported, they weren't deported legally. And with their records missing, who's to say where they are, what condition they're in, and if they're even alive? This seems like a great time to remind you that the Cato Institute found that 70% of ICE detainees had no criminal record or history. This is a civil rights clusterfuck that no one's talking about. But I want to know what you think. Who's to blame for this, and what should we do about it? Drop your thoughts in the comments, like, follow, and share.
According to the Miami Herald, 2/3 of the detainees that were sent to Alligator Alcatraz are missing. They're not in the database. The family hasn't heard from them. They're just missing. Right now, you would hope that they were deported to their country of origin, and then for some fucked up reason, ICE just took all tabs off of them. You would hope that they're still alive, even if it's in a different country, right? But if you're thinking about the worst, right? And what's crazy to me is I don't hear anybody from the right asking where they are, but then when they were going at Kamala and Joe about all of these supposed kids that had been lost in the deportation process or whatever, they were at their necks about that. What about 2/3 of the people that can't be found, that have been detained at Alligator Alcatraz? Because last time I checked, y'all were taking pictures in front of the fucking sign, but expecting us to have sympathy for Charlie Kirk, right? So 2/3 of the people that were detained in something as inhumane as Alligator Alcatraz, we're all wondering where the fuck they are. Are we talking about mass unaliving here? Was this the first wave of it, right? Or is this the first story that hit the news, right? Where the fuck are they, right? But the people who thought that that was such a non-issue and thought it was so funny to where they would take their family and take a picture in front of the fucking sign like it's Disney World, those are the same people who were last week yelling at us for, where's your sympathy, where's your empathy? I thought that when that judge said that Alligator Alcatraz was inoperable and it had to be shut down, I thought that it was because of how fucked up it was. It was like, obviously, like it's about time y'all said something about this shit to shut it down, right? But it wasn't because this is like some inhumane, just straight up evil shit they're doing there, right? They had to try to get this place shut down because of environmental reasons, saying that the facility violated some environmental code, right? But that code was specific to the federal government. And then this appellate court got the whole thing overturned to where Alligator Alcatraz can still run because they said that it is a state project, not a federal project. Even though you had fucking Donald Trump literally there talking about owner responsibility and shit like that, and how he was going to teach the people to run into an S, right? Like they found a little bullshit loophole because they're so adamant about keeping this place running. And now 2/3 of the detainees are missing, according to the Miami Herald. But you remember when they were building that motherfucker and they were saying how humane it was and how safe it was, yada, yada, yada. So if we're thinking about worst case scenarios, they feed a body to an alligator. How do you find out? You know? Like how dark How dark does this go? Do we really need 30,000 missing immigrants before Christmas of 2026 before we realize and finally accept that ICE is fucking Gestapo? Can we finally accept that there are white supremacists behind those fucking masks that just got hired into the federal government with no type of background check whatsoever, right? And they are so happy and gung-ho that they can put on a fucking mask, not give any reason as to why they're doing what they're doing, profile people, and snatch them away. And then they get to take them to these concentration camps where they won't let any media presence inside. The public really has no idea what's going on in there, shit like that. Because if you don't have anything to hide, pull the fucking curtain back. No, you really don't have anything to hide? Like, why aren't visitation hours 24/7? You arrested them, you detained them, there is no due process for whatever fucked up reason, so you can't say you're holding them for a crime, right? So visitation should be 24/7. Let me see their face. Let me see that they are okay all day, every day. And then when you deport them to their country of origin, you make sure that I can get in contact with them. You're the one who took them from me with no explanation or no due process. You're the person who kidnapped my loved one from me. You make sure I know that they're safe and alive. Like, do we really need this many people missing without explanation or warrant of where they are? Is our involvement in the genocide in Gaza not enough? Do we also need to have a modern day Holocaust on the homeland? Like, how many whammies do we need? How many things of the utmost evil do we need here, right? And then what? If they never find those people or we never get the questions answered that we all have, it's just another damn that's crazy. We were screaming from the day they mentioned it how fucked up Alligator Alcatraz was. And now, according to the Miami Herald, more than 2/3 of the detainees are missing. Yet the majority of the people that are in a position where they could stop this, they're just going on about their day. We're a society of a doorstep mentality. If the issue literally isn't right at our doorstep, we damn near believe it's non-existent. People lose their families and their lives because of dumbass doorstep mentality like that.
Like, seriously, lovelies, that very name, Alligator Alcatraz. That name, it already sounds like a grim metaphor, a place where danger, imprisonment, and hopelessness intersect. But when you attach to it the reality that more than 1,800 people, 1,800 undocumented, the proposed undocumented immigrant, not only are they men, they are also women and children are missing with no trace. Like, are you sure it's not the you know the something that we were talking about, the rapture? Are you sure this is not the real rapture that we were all hoping? Because all of a sudden these people just disappeared with no trace. Then you realize that this isn't just a tragedy, it's a catastrophe that raises questions about humanity, power, and whose lives are considered disposable. Immigration crises are nothing new. Across history, we've seen people risk everything: ocean, desert, jungles, in search of safety, survival, or simple opportunity. But what is new and deeply disturbing is the silence that often surrounds this mass disappearance. If 1,800 tourists vanish in Paris, if 1,800 college students disappeared on spring break in Miami, the world will stop. And if these people happen to be maybe, bank colored, the world will also stop. News stream would run round the clock coverage. Government would deploy every possible resources. But because these are immigrant people already framed by the media and politicians as immigrants, or they are all illegal, burden, or outsider, the urgency evaporates. The narrative becomes diluted. Statistics instead of names, numbers instead of families, shadows instead of faces. And let's talk about the psychological here, or the psychological effect that that is here. Missing without a trace, like missing without a trace, suggests something beyond natural disaster, where they abandoned, trafficked, drowned, or even deliberately silenced these people. Nobody is saying, or nobody is pointing finger. But how would this high amount of number just disappear with no trace? I'm still going to get into more research to know if there is actually a trace. But then again, the name Alligator Alcatraz conjures up imaginary of predators, confinement, and danger. But what is more predatory than a system that allows vulnerability people to vanish without consequences? It's not just the physical environment, it's the social and political one too. Like, seriously, lovelies, there are also the uncomfortable question of accountability. Who was responsible for their safety? Like, were these people in detention or in transit, abandoned by smugglers, or fed by government who looked away too often? Officials hide behind plausible deniability, while the families of the missing are left in internal limbo, waiting for calls that never come, searching for bodies that may never be found. Beyond the raw numbers, we have to remember that human toll, about 1,800 lives, means 1,800 stories shortcut. Parents who never tuck their children in again, young people who never see the future they dreamed of, elderly immigrants who carried with them the memory of a homeland they may never have set foot in again. Multiply that grief by the families connected to them, and you start to grasp the collective wound this disappearance leave behind. And yet, history tells us that unless pressure builds, the story will fade. Society has a way of normalizing immigrant suffering, which is not even supposed to be a thing. Even though these people are immigrant, they are also human, you know. And there is actually an article that came one time when they were emphasizing that they built this alligator Alcatraz in a way whereby these guys will not be able to escape. So that means they didn't escape. They are all surrounded by alligators. So if they didn't escape, so how then did they really disappear? Cams at borders become routine. Images of bodies washed offshore briefly turned. They vanish into years. News cycle. Politicians make speech about protecting borders rather than protecting life. So the disappearance of over 1,800 immigrants at Alligator Alcatraz is not just a headline, it's a mirror. It reflects the deep inequality of our world. It exposes how global system continues to treat certain life as expendable. It shows how quickly people can go from hopeful migrant to nameless missing, swallowed by both the environment and the sadness of the power that they be. If justice is selected, then it is not justice. If outrage depends on the passport you hold or the color of your skin, then we have lost our moral compass. The question now is whether this strategy will be remembered as another statistic in the long history of migrant suffering, or as the moment the world finally said, no more, not one more life is erased by silence. Like, this is just getting out of hand. And if something is not done, it might just get worse at the end of the day. Anyway, lovelies, why not just leave me your own thoughts in the comment section of what you think of this video. And please do not forget that we do not support any form of bullying and harassment. We are just here for educational and informative purposes. So please share this video, subscribe to this channel if you're yet to do that. Like, and I will see you lovelies when I upload the next one. Subscribe to this channel. Do your girl a huge favor to click on the subscription button. Like, and I will see you lovelies when I upload the next one.